Hi guys, sorry about that. I got cut off. So let me know if you can hear me. My name is Laura Mason, for those of you who are new to the group. And today we're going to be focusing in on the theme of healing the mother wound, but specifically looking at it through the lens of separating your identity from your mother's and releasing some of her trauma. So I'm going to use the Alchemize method to do the clearings. So to receive them, you just say yes or have the intention to do so. Hi Sabina, hi Dasha. So guys, let me know if you can hear me okay. Hi Elizabeth. All right, so let's start. So first of all, our relationship with our mother usually influences us, and it influences us on many different levels. It is a big part of the formation of our identity. So our identity in a nutshell is really who we think we are. Thank you, Dasha. It's who we think we are. But if you put the same person into two different environments with two different mothers, you will see that there is a huge difference. So there are other factors that are going to influence us and our identity, but the relationship with the mother is a huge thing that does impact it. The bond with our mother is the strongest bond. And it's wired into us to have that bond with our mother. No mother is perfect. And, being a mother is a very difficult job. And there are different things that are really going to impact us. It really shapes us. It shapes how we see ourselves, how we view ourselves, how we have relationships, how we relate to people. And the other thing is that a lot of our mother's issues, we will actually take that on. That can be feelings of not good enough, low self-esteem, needing to be right. There's many different ways that it can manifest. Because, when you're actually looking at yourself, you can even look at yourself and look at your thoughts and your feelings, your ideas and your beliefs, and look at it from the perspective of where did that actually come from? And do you find that you have a lot that is actually similar to your mother's? Now, of course, our fathers influence us and other people do too. So this is the thing, we can actually take a lot of these things on. So a lot of what you're actually carrying may not be yours. So let's bring in truth and clarity about that, and that you can see where the things that you're carrying have come from. And release all of the things in the way of you having full clarity. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve. Trace forward to zero from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS Spicy. So not only do we take it on, but we also mimic it. So that means we copy it. We can copy the beliefs, the ways of interacting, ways of thinking. Actually, our bodies can manifest in a similar way to our mothers as well. So there's the initial taking on, and then there's the mimicking of it. So within this, we need to look at this and we need to clear it. A lot of it will actually be on a subconscious level, so you may not actually recognize it. And, remember, when something is subconscious, it's below your conscious awareness. So you're not actually aware of it. So we also need to look at, okay, well, where did you take that on and why? Because when you took it on, it may be that it was serving some kind of purpose for you back then. And that really needs to be explored in order to release it. There can be multiple reasons as well. So let's just bring in truth and clarity so that you can have understanding and ask that whatever needs to be made conscious is made conscious in regards to that. And let's ask that all of the reasons that you are holding on to this that actually can be released. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve, trace forward to zero from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. That's going to start the clearing off. But remember, our mothers influence us massively. So we take a lot on. And then, we take it on. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we're actually acting from the space of what we've absorbed from her. And you know what? A lot of that may not even be hers, because she may have absorbed it. Because these things are also intergenerational. They are handed down. It also means that I lost myself there. It'll come back to me. So I think what I wanted to say was there's a lot of it. It's not just one thing or two things or three things. There's going to be a lot. And to really unearth this and change it, it needs further exploration. So it's about looking at, well, why, when, and how do I believe it's serving me a purpose? And is it really serving me a purpose anymore? So let's just bring in clarity, and let's show you that you can recognize the mother wounds within you, that it is safe to, and ask that whatever needs to be brought forward to your conscious awareness is brought forward. And here's the other thing I wanted to say. Well, if you've got all of this energy that you've absorbed, you're creating part of your reality based on that energy. And that's in at least two ways. One being, all of this information has literally been downloaded to you. So then that becomes part of the hard drive. If you were to imagine your unconscious mind as a computer, that's the hard drive. So that is the operating system for the choices that you make. That is part of the motivation for what you're choosing. So what that means is that a lot of the choices that we make is actually made based on stuff that we've absorbed from our mother. So let's just bring in truth and clarity in regards to that. And let's shift out anything in the way of that. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve, truth, voice, it from the source point on all levels of your being at AWS. I'm seeing a lot of mother energy in some of you. And I'm seeing that we need to push it back to create space. So let's do that. And any vow, oath, promise, contract, agreement, obligation, commitment, program, trauma, anything within you that keeps that energy in place, let's just bring in truth and clarity and start to resolve it. And just cancel it, dissolve, transform, transmute it from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So all the ways that your identity has been built on what you've absorbed from your mother, can we bring truth and clarity in, and can we let go of what can go? Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, transform, transmute it from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS? Because also what that means is all of that energy is within you. It has wired, partially, probably quite a lot, your hard drive. But in the now, you're going to still take on stuff from your mother if she's around, or people with a similar energy, because the belief systems that have been hardwired in, they're almost like an open door that say, yeah, okay, you can come in energetically. So if you are perceiving and picking up, well, not even perceiving, but taking on other people's stuff, what that means is your creation space is being interfered with. It's kind of difficult to create. It's like you're in a room with 100 different people and they're all talking. If you're in that situation, it's very difficult to be able to get clarity. It's very difficult to be able to kind of focus. So let's start to just bring in clarity in regards to what are the things within you that are the invitation, the open doorway that allows that in. And bring in truth and clarity on how to resolve that. And just clearing out any anchors, anything holding that in place. Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, truth, void, it from the source point on all levels of your being, AWSIC. So all of the emotional things, the junk, the energetic junk, everything that you have absorbed from your mother or anyone else who has a similar energy pattern, etc., start to just clean that out. So when you clean that out, you're going to have a lot more space, mental space, emotional space, and it gives you more space to create. But you have to get to the underlying patterns that allows that in, because otherwise it just can come back. When I say come back, it just means if more stuff is impelled on you, or you have, your unconscious mind has patterns where you have a tendency to please or fix, you're going to be taking that on. So those things have to be addressed. So let's just bring in clarity and truth and show you that you can actually recognize, identify the things that need to be healed, that they can be healed, they can be resolved, and how to resolve it. And anything that is ready to be resolved now, let's ask. Cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what is suited from the source point and all levels of your being, AWS. So all the ways that you are being influenced by your mother on a thought level, on a mental level, on emotional level, psychic, spiritual, physical, bringing light to all of that. Sometimes these things are very hidden and you're not aware of it. It's very difficult to do something about something if you're not aware of it. So the first step to changing it is actually bringing awareness in. So let's bring that through. And then clearing out everything that can go. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So let's talk a little bit more about identity. So first of all, when we're in the womb, we are one with our mother. So we're actually sharing a body with her. We do absorb a lot from that point. She can have thoughts, feelings, expectations about us. Then that's literally downloaded into us. That is like the beginning of that foundation that is created. So let's start to remove what can go. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what is it from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. Further work is required, but for now, I just want to move on and just, ask anything that can go is cleared, because I've got a bit to say on this. Let's just cancel, resolve, dissolve. Transform into from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So then when we're born, we do share an energy field with her. And then about 18 months to 2 years of age, we kind of start to recognize I am different. I am a separate person. And that is a point where children will start to try to have choice of their own, say no, assert their boundaries. So this is the point where you'll often hear children saying no, 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 no. And it's actually a good thing, because what they're attempting to do, it is the beginning point of a process of individuation, becoming an individual. And that is how we're actually meant to be in order to really reach our highest potential as human beings. So if that is not allowed, what you're going to find in adulthood is you're going to have poor boundaries, because children do have that ability. It is inbuilt into them. So adults who have issues with boundaries, saying no, when we have issues with saying no, etc., when we attempt to learn boundaries and assert boundaries, often what is going to happen is the things from way back there when we were young start to come up. The fears, the triggers, the belief systems. So there can be fears that you're going to be abandoned, maybe you're going to be punished. This is all stuff from the past that is being tapped into, that then gets projected onto the future. So actually it can be a little bit challenging to work through. But boundaries are really important, because if we don't have them, it can create all sorts of problems in our life. So that is sort of like where, it begins. And then when we hit, say, 12, 13, that is another big step in us really becoming an individual, so that we can actually leave the home. Again, if that is not allowed, it doesn't have to be said that this is not allowed. It can be communicated through behaviors, habits, non-verbal communication. So if a parent is highly anxious, that can get transferred to the child. Overprotective, that anxiety can get instilled into the child. Her belief systems and her fears. So all the ways that's been instilled, can we start to move that out? Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose what you do from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So then if there is control, which control can be something that you can really see, but it can be something that's very hidden, and it's done through manipulation. And sometimes we don't see it. So part of healing that is kind of like opening our eyes so that we can start to see it, so that we can start to acknowledge it and change it. So let's show you that it's safe for you to see, it's safe for you to actually recognize this. And release the things in the way of that. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve, truth, which is beautiful, the source weight, on all levels of your being, age of associate. A lot of these things are done from a space of unawareness, particularly if you go back. You know, in this generation where people are having children, it's quite different. But if you go back to maybe when you or I were children, there was a lot more unawareness. So I think most parents do their best. So that's the other thing to be aware of. So even when you start to see these things aren't black and white. And it's not your fault or responsibility what happened to you, but if you see it, then what you have to do to change that is to actually heal it. That part is your responsibility as an adult. So that's just something that I wanted to say, because that was coming through quite strongly. But then where there's this control, what do you find? Well, you're not going to be able to develop emotional boundaries, okay? Because there's a suffocation. And if you can't develop emotional boundaries, what does that mean? Well, it means that you don't know the difference between your emotions and your mother's, and probably other people's as you grow older. And you're swimming in it. So how do you get to know who you are? You get to know who am I through being able to connect to yourself. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? But within that, there is no opportunity for that exploration, because you're always in someone else's energy. So part of what we have to do in order to let go of your mother's identity is actually start the separation. There can be again, on an energetic level, it can mean that you have these doorways that just allow things in. So that can be, and on a mental level. So that can be, you pick up on her thoughts, her desires. You can't discern, so you act that out. And again, this creates the template. So a lot of what occurs back there will occur then in your relationship with other women, but also potentially with other men as well. So let's start to actually bring in awareness, truth, definition of what your emotional world is, what your mother's is, what is yours and what is other people. What is your energetic space and what is other people's. You have a right to have that space. Sometimes what is instilled into us is that we don't really have a right to have our own emotions. So then when we try to really get in touch with ourselves, what am I feeling, trying to, convey that and have boundaries, what comes up are feelings of I'm selfish, I'm guilty, or feelings of guilt. But that's something that you learn from somewhere. It's actually not the truth. Because you're going to learn a lot, was your emotions allowed? Yes or no? Were they invalidated? Was there punishment? What was the message that sent you? How is that affecting you now? So then often what you'll do is you will deny your own emotions, minimize them, put them away, or maybe even disconnect from them. And if you're constantly putting other people first, you're sacrificing yourself, your wants, your needs, and your feelings, because that's part of the thing that can get created, there's going to be feelings of anger, resentment. And actually, you're not going to be able to show the real you, because what you've learned is the real you is not acceptable. What you will have learned is to put a mask on. And it may even be multiple different masks that you've learned. And these are things that have helped you to adapt to certain situations, which helps you to go on and survive. Because the mother bond is so important. And without it, if she's not kind of happy with you, it can be threatening depending on the situation. So we're going to just update your subconscious mind so that you can recognize that what masks are no longer necessary, and show you that it's safe for you to take off the masks. And all the associations that you learned from your very real experiences as to why it is not safe, you're going to have a lot of associations in your unconscious mind. So if I show myself, this will happen. So if you ask yourself the question, if I show myself, what happens? Tell me your first thought. These are the things that are programmed into you, which you're acting and choosing from. And it needs to be cleared out. So let me know what comes through. But in the meantime, we're going to start to find what is able to be released. And we're going to cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose fontes zero from the source plane and all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So all of those negative associations, all of the beliefs, the perceptions, the very real experiences that are unresolved in you, that fuels you wearing the mask. Now, let's cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose fontes zero from the source plane and all levels of your being, AWS precisely. So some comments are, I'll be abandoned and I'll be abused. So then ask yourself, okay, well, what happens if I'm abandoned? Another comment is, I'll die. You can ask, where does that come from? The thing is, it's all old data. In reality, are you really going to die? Probably not. Are you going to be abused? Maybe not. If someone attempted to do it, can you do something different now? Yes. But the subconscious is not recognizing that. It's not registering it. So its job is to keep you safe. So it needs new information to be able to actually make another choice. Okay? Someone says, I'll be rejected. So then what happens if you're rejected? What's the worst thing? So all the expectations that you have of rejection, hurt, abuse, death, based on the real experiences, let's find them, bring in truth and clarity, and release all the things that can go, because within those belief systems, what is attached to them is feelings, a lot of the time. It can be feelings of terror, it can be feelings of fear. Hi, Kirsty. Sometimes the feelings are actually not attached to the beliefs, it depends, but we want to clear out the feelings because the feeling is also motivating. Think of when you go to make a choice. When you make a choice, what motivates your choice? It's usually feelings, which actually can misguide us. Fears. So when you make a choice, what I would encourage you all to do is, okay, look at the energy and ask a question. If I choose this, what will it create for me? If I choose this, how will my life look like in 5 years? And you'll get an energetic sense of it or some kind of vision. And you have to learn to, if you want to kind of create more in your life, choose based on that rather than the feelings, the fears, etc. Another question is, if I don't choose it, what will it create? Then that can give you reference points and you can choose based on that. So let's show you how to do that and release all the things in the way of that. Let's revoke, recount, reclaim, rescind, renounce, denounce, cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose fontes zero from the source point and all levels of your being, AWS. So all of the feelings that is actually, that you're locked into, that is motivating what you choose in the now. So that can be relationships, you know. A lot of the time we find ourselves in toxic relationships. Sometimes we'll say, I'm going to go, and we mean it. But we find ourselves going back. Why? Well, it's the feelings, the fear. It's usually, I'm going to be abandoned. No one else wants me. And there's stuff underneath that. So let's just start to clear out the feelings and everything that has you locked in that, and give you the key to unlock that and show you that you do have the key and you have the power. And releasing all the things in the way of that. Let's revoke, recount, reclaim, rescind, renounce, denounce, because resolve, dissolve. Choose fontes zero from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. Feelings have a lot of power as well. And they do have the ability to create some kind of destruction. That can be energetic destruction. It can be physical violence. When someone goes into a rage, it's there's a lot of rage inside, and that is if they go into violence, there's a lot of rage inside, and that's the motivation. They feel out of control. It can be that your feelings from your past get projected onto something in your future, and you choose based on that, which destroys possibilities or minimizes it. So all the ways that is occurring, can we bring light to that, and can we start to clear it out? Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose for choose from the source point on all levels of your being, AWSIC. That can also be your mother's feelings, or really anyone's feelings, or other women who have a very similar template to your mother. And because you have this template in place, it just kind of allows it in, because there's a familiarity in it, there's belief systems, there's resonance frequencies. So let's just bring in truth. And again, that is not just, okay, take this out and we're done, because this is really thick layered in, and it needs to be looked at through different angles. But whatever can go, let's give you sources truth on that. All of the ways other people's feelings, including your mother's, other women, or other men, because just because this is the mother wound, it doesn't mean that this doesn't transfer over to men. People will have relationships with a man. A woman may have a relationship with a man or a man, and they remind them of their mother, so they project. You can project positive or negative. Okay? Sometimes the wounds inside us, what it creates is those small children that are inside, which are really energetic and emotional components of ourself. They'll project positive things onto someone, what they wanted to have from their mother or their father, and then maybe project that onto a partner. And when they don't get it, they can regress to child behaviors, which can be, sulking, getting angry, etc. So there can be these positive expectations which kind of set you up for failure, because no one can be your mother in reality. And part of what we have to do is we need to learn, how can I actually learn to heal that within me and give that to myself? That doesn't mean that you can't have, a connection with others and receive certain things. But there's connection and attachment. And it's where we have the attachment, we have to look at it. So let's just bring in truth about those attachments that are not healthy, give you sources, truth, and perspective on that. And releasing all the things in the way of that. Revoke, recant, reclaim, rescind, renounce, denounce, because resolve, dissolve. Choose for choose suited from the source point on all levels of your being, AWSIC. Going to run that again. Cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose for choose suited from the source point on all levels of your being, AWSIC. Giving you sources, truth, and perspective on what is positive attachment, positive connection, and attachment versus unhealthy, and release all things that does not allow clarity. Let's revoke, recant, reclaim, rescind, renounce, denounce, because resolve, dissolve. Choose for choose suited from the source point on all levels of your being, AWSIC. Because within that, you can project, anyone can project negative or positive onto anyone in relationship, partner, friend, absolutely anyone. And again, a lot of what's occurring is the old stuff is getting triggered. Past and present kind of go into one, and you act from the space of the past. So someone can trigger your anger or your rage that you have towards your mother, and then you project that on, and it can get acted out. Or you project the positive things that you wish you had in a mother. Part of that can be really the parts you're looking for approval and love. And part of the learning here is to learn to really love yourself. Because as children, we are programmed for our mothers primarily to be the source of everything. Because they are. The more vulnerable you are, the younger you are, the more vulnerable you are. But when you have a mother who really accepts you, for the most part, for who you are, allows you to grow, make mistakes, learn for yourself, gives you space. It helps you to grow emotionally, helps you to develop resilience. And as an adult, there won't be this insatiable desire for approval because you've really learned or learning to give it to yourself rather than it being outside of you. So let's just bring in that you can approve of yourself, that you can calm yourself, that you can soothe yourself, and shift out anything conflictual to that. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose voices from the source point and all levels of your being, AWSIC. So all of the beliefs, the patterns, the conclusions, the ideas, things that have been instilled into you, that is part of this idea that your mother is still the source of everything and others are still the source of everything, and it gets transferred. Can we release all of that? Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve? Choose voices from the source point and all levels of your being, AWSIC. So then if we go and look at the positive projection, part of that is, you have all of these expectations and wants and desires. So it can be that you're wanting to get the things that you didn't get from your mother from somebody else. And the expectations can be very high and very unrealistic. And it kind of sets you up for disappointment. So can we just bring light to that and show you that you can release and you can resolve, and what to resolve within yourself? And release all things in the way of that. Let's revoke it, recount, reclaim, rescind, renounce, denounce, cause resolve, dissolve. Choose voices from the source point on all levels of your being, AWSIC. How is everyone doing? So really, to be able to grow emotionally and in other ways, we need to have a mother or mother figure, which can be male, who is able to really see us, at least for the most part, allows us to learn and grow, allows us to have space, supports us. When we have that, there's a sense of, I trust myself that gets instilled. There's a sense of a trust in the universe, a trust in people in general. Not that you can trust all people, but it shapes how we see things, it shapes how we see the world. So there's a lot of things that are really helpful that are instilled. When we do not have that, you might not get that for different reasons. It could be because your mother wasn't able to give it to you. That could be because of things that were going on for her. A partner not supporting her. It can be addiction in the family. It can be her own trauma that's unresolved. If her trauma is unresolved, she can get stuck, at least on some level, emotionally, in a younger place. So in a way, it's like there's the mentality of a child in an adult body trying to parent a child. Children, up until a certain age, things are very black and white. They have black and white thinking. Things are good and bad. They can't see other people's perspective, and everything that happens to them, they experience that as about them. So then what you can have is, you've got an adult, a child mentality in an adult body who is stuck there. That gets acted out with their children, and there can often be an expectation and or fantasy that the child is going to be everything to them, and they give everything. And then as the child tries to separate, they get upset, they take it as rejection. This is their pain playing out. This is their stuff playing out. But that's very damaging then to the child. So they don't get that space to grow. They don't get an opportunity to create their own identity. And then on a subconscious level, often what happens is the child takes on the mother's trauma. So there's a connection. And there can be confusion in the subconscious between what love is and what trauma is. So all the ways that you're entangled with your mother's trauma, bringing light to that, bringing truth, Releasing all the things in the way of that. Let's revoke, recount, reclaim, rescind, renounce, denounce, cause, resolve, dissolve. Transform to from the source point and all levels of your being, AWS. So every pattern, belief, idea, expectation, trauma, and shared trauma, anything else that keeps you entangled with her trauma, acting out her trauma, carrying her trauma, let's cancel, resolve, dissolve. Transform to from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. And all of the hidden subconscious agendas, keeping that in place, can we cancel, resolve, dissolve? Transform to from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. So we can take it on for different reasons. Again, that needs to be explored to really move it out. And it's not just one clearing, because you may have done it multiple times. It's really looking at, why did I do that? What was the motivation? What was the reason? Sometimes you can't even discern what is me and what is her. So can we bring in clear discernment on a mental level, on an emotional level, on a psychological level, on a sexual level, on a physical level, on a spiritual level, and release all things in the way of that. Let's revoke it, recount, reclaim, rescind, renounce, denounce, cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose fortitude from the source point and all levels of your being, AWS. I see all the ways you're mimicking your mother, her behaviors, her habits, her feelings, her thoughts, her traumas, her problems, money issues. Can we start to move it out? Bring in truth and clarity, showing you what is the deeper things that need to be addressed to completely resolve it. And whatever can be resolved now, let's ask for resolution. Cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose fortitude from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS spaces. So everything keeping you stuck in any way, energetically, psychically, psychologically, spiritually, in your mother's energy, or anyone else who has similar imprint to her, which can be male or female. Can we remove that? Can we cancel, to the degree that we can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose fortitude from the source point and all levels of your being, AWS. Every perception, feeling, thought, idea, vow, oath, promise. Sometimes we make a promise to our mother, and that can be just something you say in your head, like, I'm going to look after her. That can stick, and that can hold a lot in place. That keeps that in place. Can we cancel, resolve, dissolve, change fortitude from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. Children want to fix things. If they see their mother's in pain, they often just try and fix it. They try and take it because they don't want that, because they love. And it can also be because they get affected and impacted by the pain that she's in. It can be that the anger gets took out on the child. It can be she's in a depression. And what does that bring up in child? Feeling not safe. What does that instill in the child? It's not safe. Actually, it can instill there's no room for me. There's no room for my feelings. It instills a lot of ideas, beliefs, tendencies, and interactions with others, such as, I have to hide my feelings. There's no room for me. There's a lot of stuff that it can really put in. So it can be about safety as well. And then if it can be you have this perception that she isn't capable. So let's start to just bring in truth. Let's show your subconscious what is past, what is present, and releasing all things in the way that cancel, results, desires, which is you from the source point on all levels of your being, AWS. It's difficult for you to, it can be difficult for you to deal with your own stuff if you're carrying your mother's. So that has to be let go of in order for you to really deal with what's going on. And maybe some of it, well, definitely some of it is not yours, but maybe there's more of it that is not yours than you're actually aware of. And that's taking up a lot of space, energetic, emotional, psychic. How much of your focus are you putting on it? How much are you getting absorbed? So bringing clarity and truth on that. If there is shared trauma between you and your mother, that's also another thing that can be the reason to take on the pain. So that could be you went through something that was traumatic. It could be growing up in a home where there's addiction, where there was violence. So there can be a real survivor complex that's being put in. Okay, guys, so I want to know how you're all doing. So whatever else can go, let's cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose which is beautiful in the source point on all levels of your being, AWS precisely. Any unhealthy ties, bringing light to that. Any unhealthy cords, attachments, bringing light to that. Either removing what needs to be removed or cleaning it and upgrading it, whatever source wants to do that's appropriate for you. So this is what I'm seeing. For some of you, it's upgrading. For some of it's removing. And anyway, then her thoughts, her feeling, or toxicity is coming in through that, releasing that. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose which is beautiful from the source point and all levels of your being. So as this come out, I'm seeing some gaping holes left. So we're going to just seal those up. All the ways you're living and choosing based on your mother, her trauma, her reality, her perceptions, her belief system, or anyone who has the imprinting of your mother. Let's remove that. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve, choose which is beautiful from the source point and all levels of your being, AWS. So let's just clear out that if you don't do that, if you don't choose according to that, if you don't please, if you don't rescue, that you're going to be hurt. I mean, some of the beliefs were, I'm going to die, I'm going to be abused. Let's show you the truth about that. And all the times that things like that did happen where you felt like your life was threatened, because children can actually feel like I'm going to die when it may not be a reality. And in some cases where there is abuse and neglect, it could actually be a reality. That gets stuck within us, that stays with us, and that is very strong. And the subconscious is holding on to that. So, you know, it will fight to protect you. So it will hold on to the limitations as a protection. But let's just show you what to do with that and how to resolve it and how to let go. I'm removing the belief that you will be abused. Now, parts of you are going to probably feel, I'm defenseless. I cannot do anything about this. Cleaning that out and showing you what other choices are available, what other possibilities are available. And releasing all things in the way of that. Let's cancel, resolve, dissolve. Choose which is you from the source point and all levels of your being, AWS. All right, guys, thank you very, very much for joining. A couple of things I wanted to mention. So I am offering a series called Healing the Mother Wound. This is one of the aspects that we are going to be working on a much deeper level. We're going to do it on Zoom. I'm going to open up the line for facilitation for those who want it. So I will be able to work with you on a deep level, much deeper than today, but everyone will receive the clearing. And you're also going to receive a loop, which is all the healing statements that you listen to between calls, so you can clear layer after layer after layer. So this is some of the elements of what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at from different perspectives, things like betrayal, how you were wounded by your relationship with your mother, how it impacts you, and really changing that, really raising your vibration, working on helping you to discover who you are and be able to really see yourself for who you are, plus much more. So we're starting that on the 31st of this month. So I'm going to share the link in case anyone would like to join. It is a really, really powerful call and it will change a lot. So another thing that I wanted to mention is please drink plenty of water after listening to the clearings, because it's going to help to release things from your body. And finally, you can actually go back and listen to the replay as much as you want, and it's going to clean different levels, because, you know, our relationship with our mother is huge. So each time you do a clearing, number one, I might be talking to you about one thing, but actually it can be clearing many different things, because the healing statements are kind of generalized a lot of the time. Then when you go back and listen, again, it's clearing different things. So it's worth listening to again as many times as you want. All right, guys, thank you very, very much for joining. Have a good night or day. Bye-bye for now. I'll share the link also of the call below. Bye-bye.